Now, if you have invested in 1 or 100 NFTs that are based in the UK, you're going to want to know what your tax implication is. Now, your IRL accountant may not know the ins and outs of the NFT community, but what they do know is that HMRC most likely is coming for you. So you need to be aware of exactly what those implications around tax are when you're buying NFTs. So let's get you up to speed before you submit that tax return on everything you need to know about NFT tax. Oh, and don't worry, it's not all my advice. I've actually brought in a tax professional in the NFT space who knows a thing or two to help us make the right moves when we're doing our tax return. Right, so Kate, let's get to it. NFT purchases most definitely are taxable, aren't they?
Yes, Beck, that's correct. So this is probably the most important piece of information to note, because if you've purchased an NFT this year, you will owe tax. And the reason for that is that the HMRC classifies cryptocurrency as an asset. And so when you use cryptocurrency to then purchase an NFT, you will owe capital gains tax on the underlying crypto that you used to make that NFT purchase.
Okay, so the important thing to bear in mind there is it's the cryptocurrency that is the implication when it comes to tax. Now, you might be thinking, what if you've got those all-important diamond hands and you've been holding onto that NFT for quite a while? Are you still going to be liable for tax, Kate?
This is probably the most common question that I've been asked. And so you're just by virtue of purchasing an NFT using cryptocurrency, you'll owe tax. But then conversely, when you purchase the NFT and you hold it, as it increases in value, a lot of people are wondering, do I owe tax just because the NFT I'm holding has increased in value? And the answer is no. As long as you're just holding the NFT, it can increase in value and you won't owe tax until you then resell the NFT.
Right. The important thing to note is that your tax implication kicks in when you sell your NFT. So actually, it's probably not such a bad thing to have diamond hands in the last year. Now, in terms of capital gains tax, in the US, they have something called short versus long-term implications. But here, we actually only have a flat rate for our tax implications around this. Isn't that right, Kate?
Right, exactly. So this is another important point to know, that if you've previously purchased an NFT and then you resell it, you will owe capital gains tax in the UK. But in the UK, your capital gains, there's no short-term and no long-term classification. We just have a flat rate. So there's a 10% capital gains tax if your ordinary income in the UK is less than approximately £50,000. Mm-hmm. And then if you're over that income threshold, your capital gains tax rate becomes 20%. Mm-hmm. So easy to remember. On an NFT resale, you'll owe capital gains, and then you'll just need to know what income bucket you fall into to be able to know which capital gains rate applies to you.
Right, so capital gains is actually determined via your level of income. Okay, that's easy to understand. Now let's get to the juicy part. Are there any exemptions when it comes to buying an NFT? I mean, for us, Kate, we Brits love to save a pretty penny where we can.
You do. So your first £12,300 of capital gains are exempt from tax, which is incredible to me. So if you've been purchasing and reselling NFTs, as long as your total capital gains for the year are under that £12,300 threshold, you won't owe any capital gains tax. Yes. So just be mindful as you're trading and reselling. Keep an eye on your tally of capital gains, and then if you're below that threshold, you don't need to stress.
Oh, phew. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I know that makes me feel a lot better to know that I've got about 12 grand's worth of opportunity for exemptions. Now, if like me, you've actually been diamond handing your NFT, over that course of that time, you may have actually received a few incentives, so airdrops or giveaways. Now, what we need to be aware of is whether or not these giveaways or airdrops actually have tax implications as a result.
So the HMRC has come out and declared that airdrops and giveaways will not be taxed in the UK. So if you've received an NFT airdrop or you've been lucky enough to win a giveaway, you don't need to worry about tax concerns, which differs from the US where those are taxed. So we're very envious of our UK friends in this regard.
Oh, well, that's actually amazing news, because we've actually got one up on our US friends there, because they do have to pay tax on their airdrops and giveaways. Maybe the HMRC just hasn't quite cottoned onto it, but whatever the case is, I'm sure all of us will be really happy to hear that news. Right, let's move swiftly on and talk about the thing that we all love to hate. If you have been trading on the Ethereum blockchain, then you will be familiar with gas fees. Now, you might have spent anything between $10 and $100 and even possibly more. And what you need to know is whether or not there's actually an opportunity to try and offset that horrendous expense.
Yeah, so gas fee treatment has been a big topic with respect to taxes. And so when you purchase an NFT, you'll likely incur some gas fees, as you mentioned. And while those are not tax deductible to you as an individual investor, the amount of gas fee is actually added to what's called your cost basis in the NFT. So your purchase price plus any gas you've incurred will total to calculate your cost basis in the NFT. And that will come into play later when you then resell the NFT and you're calculating those capital gains that we were talking about. So by adding the gas to your purchase price and therefore raising your cost basis, your actual profit, the gain, when you resell the NFT will be reduced.
Yeah.
And so that is one tax benefit that gas fees, while not immediate, when you later resell, will play to your advantage.
Okay, so in the long run, those gas fees actually do pay off for us Brits. Now, if you're watching this video in January, you're probably scrambling around to go and get your tax return done. Well, don't panic. Hopefully these tips have helped you. But the best thing you can do for next year is actually to plan ahead and be more organised with all of your taxes. So to try and alleviate a little bit of stress around this, Kate, why don't you tell us what we should be doing?
Yeah, so the best practices for tax planning, first of all, is to sort of have an understanding of a lot of these basic taxable transactions. And so by watching this video, you've already done step one. But if you are looking to do some further tax planning, the best advice that I can give you is to have an understanding of what your capital gains tax liability will be before the end of the tax year, so that then you can have an opportunity to do what's called tax loss harvesting, for example, and try to offset some of those capital gains. But if you don't know what your tax liability is, if you're in the UK, you might not know whether you're below that exemption threshold that we discussed. And so if you don't know that, you won't be able to make informed decisions as the end of the year approaches. And so just be mindful that if you can do your best to get an idea of what your tax liability is before the end of the year, you won't be scrambling, and then you can make some more informed decisions about your tax position.
Well, huge thanks to Kate there, who has come on board to hopefully help us Brits make our tax journey in the NFT space a little bit less stressful. Now, if you need some help in your general NFT journey, make sure you check out these videos. They're here to help you along your way, whether or not you are a creator or you're an investor. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.